What's up, YouTube fam? Robbie C here. Today we are going to talk about swing thoughts and what exactly could or should be going through your head when you are throwing a shot in disc golf. But before we dive in, of course, we have to ask the most important question of the day. How are you doing today, Ryan? Are you having a good one?
So catch me if I fall.
So what exactly is a swing thought? A swing thought is the active thought going through your head as you are throwing the disc. There are people on one end of the spectrum who have more swing thoughts that could ever be helpful, and they're trying to focus on how tied their shoelaces are, as well as like how much the grip or the tread on their shoe is grabbing the concrete tee pad. They're also trying to think about their wrist angle, what their arm angle, and if their shoulder has enough fold to it, whatever that may be. And then you have people on the other end of the spectrum, like our guest that we have today, who when he's throwing a shot doesn't necessarily have much of anything going through his head, and he's just trusting the work that he's put into his form throughout the process of becoming a better disc golfer. So where should you find yourself on this scale? And if you do have swing thoughts, does it actually have an effect on how you're throwing the disc? All great questions that I've been asking myself, and also when I've been coaching certain people, trying to work through, okay, what are you actively focusing on? What are you actively thinking about during the throw? And we wanted to put that to the experiment. We're gonna hopefully do a two-part out of this. If you guys find this interesting, I know probably going to do it regardless just because of the thought experiment, but part one is going to be here where we're throwing the shots and having these active swing thoughts, seeing if we can feel any differences without necessarily taking a lot of time to review the footage. And then in a later video, we're actually going to review the footage to see if we saw any changes happening in the form. So the fun part is, you as the viewer, you're going to be able to see some of these effects immediately, or if it's having an effect at all, to get that feel versus real effect right in front of you of, while I can feel like this may be changing, is it actually changing? We'll find all of that out. But let's go ahead and meet our guest for today. Welcome to the channel, Mr. John Acton. How are you doing today, sir?
I'm good and very glad to be here.
Come on, first time on the channel?
That's right, I believe so. Been watching a long time, but never appeared.
Okay, well, John works here at our local shop, Dynamic Disc Iron City. He's here every weekday, Monday through Friday, 12 to 6. John's here to answer all your disc golf questions, and I come in and I only work one day a week, and that's not even an every week thing. We try to make sure if there's lessons here in the shop. But John, I would say in describing your game, you have found success on the tee. You have enough distance that like you feel confident attacking most courses. Does that seem accurate?
I would absolutely say that. We know where my struggles are, but I usually feel pretty confident on most type of shots.
Okay. So how far, letting the people know, if you were to say, the question was asked on in the bag is, you have an open field, we can set the basket X amount of feet away. How comfortable, how far out do you feel like you're reaching consistently on golf lines?
390 to 400, I'd say.
Okay. Yeah.
I mean, that's like circle two, feel pretty confident I can get in circle two. So
yeah.
380 to 400.
Okay. Awesome, awesome. And then if you're like really leaning into one, not like, oh, in the tailwind, downhill, or I hit it just right, what's like your, once a hole passes this distance, I just know like I cannot reach it, even if I throw like my big shot?
450. I mean, freewheeling, no wind, level ground, the absolute max I've ever gotten, and I've gotten it quite a few times, is around 450.
Okay. So, awesome.
But honestly, outside of 430, I'm probably playing it for two shots.
Okay, perfect. For most of you watching, that's distance that you're like dreaming of and hoping one day I can get there in your disc golf journey. Before we started recording, and we're going to be watching, obviously you're going to throw quite a few shots. I'll be throwing shots as well. That way you'll see sort of the difference between the two. But we were talking before, and you were kind of giving the caveat, like, let's make sure that people know, like, I don't have great form.
Correct.
So talk to us a little bit about that, like that feeling or that hesitancy before we show people that.
There's certain aspects of a great form that I've tried to work in and that I've never quite figured out, mainly the rear arm, the left arm. I haven't filmed myself, haven't watched myself, so honestly don't even know what that arm's doing these days.
Yeah.
I know first few years of my life I was dragging bad, like I would bring it way out behind me. I think I keep it tighter now, but I don't honestly know what it's doing.
Okay.
Everything else feel okay about.
Okay, awesome. Well, what we're gonna do is we are going to throw several shots here, and we're going to focus on swing thoughts while we're doing that. So let's focus on the hit, let's focus on starting with the offside, things like that, and see if it has any effect on the throw whatsoever. Ready?
I'm ready.
So to start things off, let's do 3 throws. Just don't like your normal throw, because
Normal drive.
Normal drive, yeah. Like,
Yeah.
and you're someone who, like, when you're throwing, there's not necessarily like an active thought going in your head,
There's
right?
a couple things, but it's not
Okay.
very deep.
What are the couple things?
Making sure that as far as the actual motion of the throw, that I'm exploding, that there's an acceleration and a snap.
Okay.
And that's literally just something I'm thinking, and then my body just kind of follows
Okay.
that logic. And then second's tee box geometry, making sure that I'm
Angle
following
right
a
for which
line
one you
towards my
want.
target.
Yeah.
That's really all I'm focusing on.
And the tee box geometry is nice because that's predetermined. Like, that's not an active swing thought. It's almost like a pre-set up.
Correct.
Like,
Yeah, no. It's
I'm going to move in this
maybe a
direction.
little bit during it, just for the fact of my steps.
Yeah,
But
that's fair. Yeah.
I'm following that geometry, because it's not like I line my body up and then think of it in that manner. I think of it as where I'm
Okay.
tracking to.
I love it. All right. Yeah, let's see a couple rips. Okay. And I know you had mentioned it's hard for you to tell on some of these, like, if without seeing the disc fly, did I get a good rip on it or not?
Correct.
So for this, like, any of these, did they feel like normal, or do they feel off, or once again just
The
kinda
second
hard
one
to tell?
felt, I mean, it's hard to analyze that, but the
Yeah.
second one felt better.
Okay.
In my field work, when I have tried to add distance, a lot of the things that I don't have to think about it anymore.
Yeah.
The extreme reach backs, so I'm getting my weight off from, above the center line.
Yeah.
And then turning my head too far back, allowing, to me, my body, I'm 44 years old and not that in shape. My body can't keep up with that. Like, once I get too far back, so
Yeah.
really staying in and not maybe going past 90 with my eyes. That's something, now it's natural, but it took a lot of thinking about that when I first started doing that.
Yeah.
I know Kristen, and we've seen some videos lately of some of the pros that do look back.
Yeah.
And it doesn't seem to affect them. I can't look back. I lose distance immediately looking back.
Yeah.
That one was the best yet.
Okay. Bang, bang. Okay. That one felt the worst. I know that it was the worst, but it felt the most powerful because I tried harder on that one. So, okay, so the first thing we're gonna talk about, I know Overthrow just did a video on this, and I wanna talk about, like, creating lag, right? Like that space of when we feel the lag, we feel everything, and then we can unload it later. So you talked about keeping the head to a certain point and then letting the body catch up and throw. I want you to focus on this time when the feet hit, the left side driving this in and finishing the shot, and then let the rest of the body happen, but really just try to over focus on the left side starting the throw. So it all kind of waits, left side drives, and then throw it. And let's see what that does. We're gonna get 3 throws of that.
That was weird. There was lag, by gosh, but I think it was
Yeah.
a little overdone.
Okay, okay. Bang.
I just go up there and rip it, man.
Yeah, okay.
It's such an odd feeling to think about making sure. I don't know. Can I try one more?
Yeah, go for it. Okay.
The one I did, it was overdone, but
Yeah.
it was there on that one.
I think the heart of this video is trying to see, all right, there are certain things that technically should be happening during a throw. Like, we know there are motions that have to happen. You talk about being explosive. If I'm backloaded back here, my explosivity has to happen here instead of here.
Correct.
Which means that all the energy it's taking to get me to the throw or to the release is being lost in the distance, right? Like, I know for me, when I focus on lag drive, that's when I feel like I get my biggest hits without actually even feeling like I have to throw that hard.
Yeah.
Because I think another thing is, like, a lot of throws are they're starting here, and that's how you get too far behind on the throw. Whereas like you watch so many pros, like Calvin's here until, and it literally boom, boom.
Yeah.
That's all. So this over exaggerates something that I actually don't think is how this actually plays out. Yeah, see that time that time field versus real, I can guarantee if you're watching that cut right there, I felt like I drove it, but I did not. Like it was
Really?
all coming together at the same time. So next focus point is, I think we talk about 10 o'clock being the hit, right? And you talked about getting your head, letting it stay at 90. But you see a lot of the pros and whatnot, when they come, their head gets to here and then their arm gets out in front of them. And then that's what finishes the shot. So I've noticed even for you, like your head's looking at that like 10 o'clock position, and then the arm gets to just trebuchet around and hit in that moment. So what we want to focus on here is, and in order to isolate the arm, let's see if stopping the head at a certain point causes that arm to be isolated and come out.
You're saying stop, like try to hold back with my head?
So your head
stop.
is going to look to like 10 o'clock, like your head is going to be looking right here as you throw.
Okay, don't go back as far then.
Well, you can go back as far, but when you come into the throw, so like I'm here, I'm here, I'm here, and then my head gets to here, and I'm thinking about actively stopping my head at this motion and letting the rest of the throw come. How'd that feel? Awful? Different?
Hard to say. Let me go again.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm still like keeping my head back drastically instead. You say I'm not falling through my head at all now.
Yeah.
But
And would you say
I kind of feel the
normally?
release though.
Yeah, so do a normal throw for you. Don't think about it, and see if, like, now that you've had that thought there, see what your head is naturally doing.
I'm following with my right arm. I'm following the disc as
it's coming out.
As it's getting to the hit.
Okay, so I want you to focus. I'm gonna give like a little visual aid here. How'd that feel?
Pretty good. I get what you're saying, because it's allowing more of the energy, because part of that energy is the head going
with
around.
Your head, yeah.
Right. Keeping the head back, that's more energy coming out your hand.
Yeah. I'm with John in terms of like that, like it helps me to come back here, but my issue, and this is something I've literally, when Strauss was here in person with me, is he had to do what I was just doing of like hold the hand up like here. Because when I go back, even if I don't go all the way back, if I go back to that 50%, when I hit, it's like I'm here, and at that point, I'm at a weak point. I've rotated too far with my head, and then I don't have that isolation of the arm, which causes the distance. Like that felt really good.
That looked exactly like what you were trying to get me to do.
Yeah, and so it's like having it there, but like, the issue is I didn't fall through with my head either afterwards. Yeah.
You're following through with it. I don't know if your left arm is what's bringing your head around.
Yeah, I don't think
it's
it
a
is.
little delayed from that.
Yeah. There it is.
That seemed intense.
It's letting yourself, so that isolates the upper body so much, it's letting the lower body actually hit with it as well. Because I know that's something you'll see several people do, is like they'll hit and the brace hits so hard that like why they end up bouncing is because the energy's got to go somewhere.
Yeah.
Okay, so for this last one, this is something that I literally, when I had like it hit for me, I came into this store to talk to you about it, of like, okay, so we talk about 10 o'clock release, and that's what we were just trying to get to with isolating the head so that the arm gets to that 10 o'clock release. But instead of getting the disc to 10 o'clock, I want us to think about getting the back of the hand, because you can see as I'm throwing to the camera, that's disc to 10 o'clock, that's back of the hand. And back of the hands, now the disc has to whip around. I want that to be our last active swing thought, is don't throw the disc to 10 o'clock, think about back of the hand to 10 o'clock and see how that feels. And this could be one that, like, for you, it doesn't feel any different, and maybe it's because your back of your hand's already getting there, or even in focusing on it, the back of the hand's not getting there.
Right. That's getting back to what I normally feel on good power.
Yeah.
Because that's not a thought normally, especially if I step up to a hole and take 4 throws. Just practicing, the last 2 are going to be the best, and it's because I get back to that. But maybe that is something I need to be thinking about.
Yeah. Does that feel good? Like a good
No,
one?
I missed it on that one.
Okay.
That was it.
Okay. Okay.
That one was good.
All right. I'm gonna try the same thing, and then we'll wrap it up. Yeah, this is something that truly, like, when I've taken this to a course, it's hitting so well, or it's like, and I am grip locking these things into eternity. Okay. That wasn't it. Doesn't have to be hard. There's so much extra power there. Yep, that was it.
Yep.
Okay. That was it.
Yep.
All right. That's the throws. Let us know in the comments which one of those, even y'all just watching it, things you're noticing, things you're seeing, and then also we'll be breaking this down in future footage, but we're going to do a little recap real fast. Okay, so of the 3 thought exercises, rank them, let's say what was most impactful to, like, I never really felt it.
I'll start backwards. Never really felt it was the head position, the 10 o'clock head position.
Okay.
The final one probably is the most impactful which I think you would agree with based on your experiences recently. Yeah. For me, that's as simple as, while you don't want to be tense, I do like my wrist a little curled. Yeah. I'm not Rickying out there with full curl on everything, but having my wrist curled at the beginning and making sure that's a thought process that sometimes I have it, sometimes I don't, that I'd like to always have. And it allows for a much bigger pop, because I felt that. And that's another thing I wanted to point out about the whole process was I've never been coached before in any disc golf throw. And there were absolutely, during each exercise, you knew you did it and you knew you didn't do it. Like, it's nice because it gives you goals.
Yeah, I think I would say the same. I would say head position may be very vital if you're off balance in your throw already. Like, getting your head to that position, if you're leaning forward and like I reach very far back and then I fall very far forward, that is going to feel awful. Like, it's going to feel so different to keep your head in the right position, because it's very easy to stay centered and balanced while doing that. So I think that one's going to feel super impactful if you have bad balance. I think the lag or the offside probably going to feel weird if you already start too early.
That was the most awkward feeling, like the most difficult to accomplish for me.
Yeah.
Because the 10, I didn't really understand what I was trying to produce from that, I guess you would say. But the lag is something I've struggled with for 4.5 years of playing disc golf.
Yeah.
Or not, not leg, but rear arm involvement.
Yeah.
You know what I'm trying to say.
Yeah. Okay. And then I would agree. When I hit that and I let myself wait on the shot, it's so easy to get power out of it. It's just the greediness of, like, gotta go now. John, appreciate you being here.
I'm here every day.
That is true. That is true. I appreciate you being on the channel.
Hey.
And so I would say, for someone who has very clear swing thoughts, is the idea of even saying, like, okay, I got to focus on getting that wrist position right when I'm doing this so that I have throw the back of the hand. Is that something that you feel like you need to add to your game?
No, I feel like the actual process for me, because I've experienced it with other things I've implemented with my throw, that you definitely want to have those, the thought process of, and I wouldn't overload it, 4 or 5 things, but you do it enough, work it in, field work, however you do it, lots of rounds, and then they become natural. So, in other words, I don't want to always have 4 to 5 things to think about.
Totally.
Like I narrowed it down to 1 or 2, but now you've kind of thrown in a couple more that I can bring back and do a little more work on.
Yeah. Well, Appreciate it, sir.
Yes, sir.
And hope this video was helpful for you guys. Look forward to the next one where it's going to be like, you're going to see these throws again, but it'll be a lot less of a flashy format because it's going to be me in my studio literally drawing on us like markers your teacher hands back on a test. And
Can't wait.
Hear all that. So look forward to that. But in the meantime, hope you have an amazing rest of your day. Make it fantastic for someone else too. But for now,
We're going to leave you with a birdie.